Hi, my name is Reverend Edwin Guy. I'm the pastor of Victory Christian Tabernacle and Galilee Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York. And I'd like you to just go back in your memory for a moment, back to when, if when you, as the guy, would hold the door for your girlfriend or your wife, or when you, the wife, would go to bed with with a special sexy nightie that you would wear more often than not. Take yourself back to where you would tell each other when you were leaving, and you would also provide an estimated time of when you'd be back. You would walk by and maybe pinch her, or she might touch you in an intimate way, just as a little playful banter, if you will, between you guys. These are some of the things that you may feel or see in your relationship now that you've gotten away from. And I call that the honeymoon stage, when you were doing those things back when you were not just friends, but you were best friends. And I think, unfortunately, we have made ourselves believe that the honeymoon always ends. But I would beg to differ. I think that that's one of the big challenges in relationships today, is that we no longer treat one another as if the relationship is new and fresh. When it was, there were certain things that you did. You tended to be more patient, more attentive to when each other spoke, uh, and and somehow, over a period of time, the that you find yourself just becoming more and more complacent, and a lot more inflexible. And so, one of the things that I think is important and useful is that you don't have to surrender your honeymoon. In fact, there are those that think that friendship is that you have to give up your friendship when you become married, or you have to give up your friendship when you begin to look towards getting married. There are a lot more things that need to be discussed and unveiled, if you will. A lot of things that you were private and, so to speak, none of their business when you were dating. But once you decide to get married, and once you've decided, or once you are married, those things become not just yours, but they belong to both of you. Too often in a marriage, folk begin to feel like, okay, well, we've gotten married now, and now we can go back to, or I can go back to how I used to be. But that is unfortunately a bad move if you're trying to develop and grow in your relationship. The fact is that many people, whether it be conscious or unconscious, they think that they have to give up their friendship with their spouses when they get married, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The fact of the matter is that in a friendship, you had far fewer expectations, virtually none. In a friendship, when you were friends, just friends, before you got engaged, before you got married, you accepted and understood the person for who they were, and you accepted that. And it's not that you became complacent. When you were friends, you would tell one another that you're a slob, or that you need to, or I don't know, you need to do something differently, and you did it openly and with no reservation because you felt as if there were no negative repercussions. Unfortunately, very often in marriages and in relationships that are headed towards marriage, there becomes a sense of I don't want to say this, or I don't want to mention this because there will be some type of negative repercussion, and that would not be. What I am urging you to do is to, right now, wherever you are in your relationship, whether you just got engaged or whether you're married for newlyweds or married for several years, I would urge you right now to think back to when you were engaged. Think back to when you were in that either in the engagement stage or when you first met and started to date, and how you treated her and how you treated him, and get back to that same mind frame. The honeymoon does not have to end, because when we think about the honeymoon, when we think about those times when we had just met, we were very happy. Those things, neither one of you wanted to hang up the phone if you're younger, maybe even if you're an older couple. You just loved the being around one another, and you made the best of the time. The fact of the matter is that being on your honeymoon, when you were at that early stage in your relationship, you just looked forward to seeing each other and look forward to being with each other. And it's a mindset. There is nothing different that happened. You are still that person, though you've had different experiences now, but that is still the same person that you met and dated and asked to marry you, or accepted a proposal from the guy. So it's important that we do our best to stay, get that mind frame back into the mind frame of when you were first engaged, or if you're not engaged yet, when you first met. And I call that the honeymoon stage. It was that time when you just you remembered, you saw all the good in your mate. You saw all the good, and you did not blind yourself to the bad or to the negative, but somehow that those other things didn't matter. You were just happy to be with that person and be around that person. And I will say this in closing, do your best to try to get back to that honeymoon stage, back to in that gear, in that time of that frame of mind of honeymoon. And quite frankly, if you have to, force it until you're able to feel it. And the reason why I say that is because you're listening to this video. And because you're listening to this video, it suggests that you want your relationship to get better, to get stronger. And so one of the ways is to get back in your mind, forget about what the other person's reaction or response is. You get back to the honeymoon stage. God bless you.